In the heart of the ancient Nigeria, where the sun-kissed savannas met the impenetrable embrace of the equatorial forest, lived a renowned hunter named Okonkwo. His village, nestled along the banks of the mighty Niger River, was a tapestry of mud-thatched huts, bustling markets, an age-old tradition passed down through generations. Okonkwo was a man of few words but boundless courage, his skin etched with scars from battles with beasts and the wild. His most loyal companion was a sleek ebony-furred dog named Nkita, whose eyes gleamed with the fire of the ancestors. Nkita was no ordinary hound. He was a descendant of the fierce hunting dogs bred by the Igbo warriors of old. Swift as the Harmattan wind and cunning as the trickster god Anansi. One fateful dawn, as the first rays of the light pierced the canopy like golden spears, Okonkwo and Nkita set out into the thick forest. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming acacias, alive with the symphony of chirping birds and rustling leaves. Whispers of danger lurked in every shadow. Pythons coiled in the underbrush, leopards prowling silently, and spirits said to the god, the sacred grouse. Okonkwo carried his sharpened spear and a quiver of poisoned arrow, but it was Nkita's keen senses that led the way. The dog bounded ahead, his nose to the ground, sniffing out trails invisible to the human eyes. Ours melted into the humid haze as they delved deeper. Suddenly, Nkita froze, his ear pecked and muscles taut. A low growl rumbled from his throat. There, in the sun-dappled clearing, creased a majestic antelope, its horns curving like the crescent moon. Okonkwo raised his spear, but before he could strike, Nkita exploded into action. With a burst of speed that blurred the boundaries between the predator and prey, the dog lunged, dodging the antelope's frantic kicks and clamping its jaws around its neck. The forest echoed with the beast's final thrashing as Nkita held firm. His loyalty fueling his strength, Okonkwo rushed forward, delivering a merciful blow with his spear. Together they had triumphed. The hunter and his faithful friend. Pride swelled in Okonkwo's chest. As he hoisted the antelope onto his broad shoulder, Nkita trotted beside him, tail wagging, his muzzle stained with the mark of victory. The journey home was arduous, the forest seeming to conspire against them with the tangled vines and hidden roots, but their bond carried them through. As the village came into view, children ran out to greet them, cheering at the sight of the prize. Okonkwo's wife Adamma, a woman of quiet grace and skillful hands, and their young daughter Nneka, with eyes as bright as the evening stars, rushed to help. They marveled at the antelope's size, its meat's promising feast for days. In the warmth of their compound, under the shade of a sprawling baobab tree, Adamma and Nneka set to work. They skinned the beasts with precision, the air filling with the savory aroma of herbs and spices, ground pepper, uziza leaves, and locust beans, blended into a marinade passed down from Adamma's foremothers. The meat was roasted over an open fire, crackling and sizzling until it glistened with juices that made mouths water. Nkita watched from a distance, his tongue luring in anticipation, but Okonkwo's face darkened. That evening, as the family gathered around the flickering firelight, Okonkwo called a solemn meeting. His voice, deep and commanding, like the roll of thunder, cut through the night. "Listen well, my king," he declared, his gaze sweeping over Adamma and Nneka. "This dog Nkita is a thief at heart. He must not come near the meat we had prepared. Chase him away if he dares approach the kitchen, as if he were a marauding hyena. Strike him if you must, for he cannot be trusted. Adaman and Neka exchanged puzzled glances, but nodded in obedience, by the custom of the respect for the head of the household. Nkita, sensing the shift, slunk to the edge of the compound, his ears drooping. Yet hunger and curiosity drew him back. As the moon climbed high, he crept towards the kitchen. Drawn by the irresistible scent, Neka spotted him first and remembered her father's word, grabbed a stick and shouted, "Away, thief! Be gone!" Adama joined in, hauling stones that whistled past Nkita's flank. The dog yelped in confusion, dodging the fleeing into the shadows, his heart heavy with betrayal. How could they forget it? It was he who had felled the antelope. He who had shared the peril of the hunt. Days turned to weeks, and Nkita grew weary. His once vibrant spirit dimmed. He no longer hunted with joy at Okonkwo's call, instead lingering in the fringes of the village, a shadow of his former self. One stormy night, as lightning cracked the sky and rain pounded the earth like angry drums, a greater danger loomed. A pack of wild hyenas, drawn by the scent of the leftover scraps, encircled the compound. Okonkwo and his family huddled inside, fear gripping their hearts, but Nkita, despite the warnings of ingratitude, rose to defend them. With ferocious barks and snaps, he fought off the intruders, his royalty unbroken, even in the face of rejection. In the camp after the storm, Okonkwo found Nkita wounded but victorious. Shame washed over the hunter. Like the receding floods, he gathered his family once more, this time with humility in his eyes. "I was blind," he confessed. "Nkita is no thief. He is our guardian, our friend, who shares in our triumphs and perils. Without him, this meat and our very lives would not be ours." From that day, Nkita was honored at every meal, given the choicest portion as a symbol of gratitude. The village elders retold the tale around campfires, weaving it into proverbs that echoed through time. And so, the moral of this lesson resonates deeply in the bonds of family and friendship. True loyalty and contributions should never be forgotten or repaid with ingratitude. The village elders retold the tale around campfires, weaving it into proverbs that echo through time. And so the moral of this lesson resonates deeply in the bonds of family and friendship. True loyalty and contribution should never be forgotten or repaid with ingratitude. Just as the dog provided for the family yet was chased away, so too can we wound those closer to us by overlooking their sacrifices. In the cycle of kinship, be it blood or chosen bonds, appreciation is the thread that strengthens the weave. For to betray a faithful friend is to weaken the very foundation of trust and love.